Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel where we do painting tutorials. I'm starting by pre-mixing some cadmium red with a bit of cobalt blue to achieve this very nice maroon color, so I have it ready to go when I need it. Then I've separated my page into two and I've wetted the upper half. I apply some bright cadmium yellow in the center, which is gonna be where the sun is coming from, and nice around with some cadmium orange to make a sunset slash sunrise scenery. I apply my maroon mix beneath and above the orange, so on the top of this upper half section and also on the bottom of it where we'll have our horizon line. I'm applying everything in a horizontal motion just to try and help everything blend seamlessly with each other. Even though the background is wet, I am using cheaper quality paper, so it doesn't hurt to aid it a little bit. I'm using a smaller number 6 brush because I'm using Winsor & Newton Cotton paints, which are very beginner friendly slash entry level. So I use the smaller brush because I find that it helps get a bit more pigment, a bit more saturation out of them compared to using a larger, fluffier brush. Then I reapply all of my colors in a second layer while everything is still dry. I have not let this air dried whatsoever. I just reapply the cadmium orange over the cadmium orange and the maroon mix over the maroon mix to further saturate this, because as you may know, watercolors do tend to dry up lighter than what they look like when you initially apply them. This part right here is just to make everything nice and saturated and vibrant, so we have very strong results once it does dry. I take my maroon and I gently feather it out using horizontal brush motions, so very skinny lines of it come slightly over the sunshine where the sun rays are coming from. It does help to hold your brush perpendicular to the paper rather than tilted or an angle to get these very nice straight thin lines. And I continue building up with more of my orange and more of the cadmium red. If anything starts to dry funky, or if just anything starts to dry and I still need it wet in order to work with it, I just go with a barely damp brush to reactivate it. Then I further darken up the top edge and the top corners with more of my cadmium red and cobalt blue mix. Keep in mind that these are not real cadmiums and cobalts. As far as I know, the Cotman series uses hues instead of actual pigments, so if you're worried about potential danger or toxicity, these are all fake pigments. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like if you have kids or animals like I do, like I have cats, that is literally why I use them rather than actual cobalts and cadmiums. The only downside I can figure out to these paints is sometimes you need to work with them a bit extra to get more saturation out of them. Like you need to layer them on and you need to pre-activate them before you start painting, meaning just add a little droplet of clean water onto each color before 1 or 2 minutes before you need to paint with them, and they're gonna be good to go. Now, while the sky dries, I peel off that piece of tape that was separating the two areas. I apply a thin layer of water over the sea slash lake we'll have on the bottom portion. And I apply some of the cobalt blue on the bottom right corner and this maroon mix on the top left corner. Why? No reasoning, I just thought it would look pretty. I try to blend these horizontally because that's what water does. It moves horizontally, typically, unless it's like a whirlpool or something. And I pick random bits of the paint with a napkin to try and create some nice highlights. Now with a pretty much dry brush, it's like 70-75% dry, I go into my cobalt and I paint slash sketch these funky triangle slash mountaintops all over of the sea. I'm just doing some weird seagull shapes basically. I don't know, it looks like cuneiform sculpture, just random shapes. And I want to build upon this to create a more realistic wave splashing kind of effect. It looks crazy now, it will make sense in a bit. Then I mix my cadmium red with my cadmium orange and my cobalt blue to create pretty much black, because I have no black in this set. These are literally the 4 pans you see or everything I have. So I mix this color and I go add some more of these upside down V shapes, some more of these mountain slope shapes. I tried to focus them beneath the cobalt blue mountain slopes, but it doesn't really matter. And also I try to keep them larger towards the bottom, like do larger upside down V's on the bottom and very small ones towards the horizon, because the closer they are to us, the larger they appear, and the more distant they are, the smaller they appear, because perspective. By the way, this painting you're seeing right now is the January full-time paint along with me tutorial / lesson I did for my Patreon page. I believe it's about 40 minutes long in real time. And I also do digital downloads and traceables of my more complex painting tutorials over at my Patreon page, so a bit of shameless self-promotion there. If you're interested in any of that, links are going to be down in the description and in the end of this video. Now, once everything has dried, I take the same black mix I used for the waves and I do some, I don't know, like actual mountain slopes with this black mixture over the horizon, so they sort of frame the sunrise / sunset. And I do paint the shores at the very bottom of the page with it as well. Then this next step is completely optional, but I just thought it would look good. Basically, I had this white marker lying around, so I thought I'd add some very subtle highlights and then I diffuse them with my finger, because I don't want them to be too harsh and look like wall paint basically. So I just tap a bit over some darker areas and then smush them off with my finger. I also apply some highlights over the shores and those hills / mountain slopes we have over the horizon. Blend them out with my finger basically, and that is it. I like to give a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters for the month of February, and thank you all for putting up with me and choosing to watch this painting tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Please let me know down in the comments and we'll see each other in the next one. Bye bye.